Hey, folks, Dave back here late night. A little chat going on here tonight. I got home late from the rink. It was playoffs tonight, and so there was we went into overtime and the whole bit, and so I got home a little late tonight. But I wanted to come on here tonight because while I was at the rink, I was able to watch a couple of videos tonight. I was watching Al Red Sox fan. He was playing Apple football. And I got to go catch the end of that because I had to turn it off and focus on overtime. I couldn't really concentrate on the game. I mean, I couldn't concentrate on Al. I had to take out my headphones, watch the game I was supposed to be working or was working. And I was also watching Jason Flash football. And he had a terrific talk. And you got to go check out Jason Flash football's channel. Look at his talk about defense. Okay. And in a nutshell, as Al comes by, Al, I'll work with you on that file there. There's a couple different files. Try downloading them both, but I might have that file here for the helper. We'll figure out one way or another. We'll get that helper to work. As Barbara comes by, Barbara, how are those Rangers doing? Boy, they're looking pretty good. Ron McGrath comes by, Steeler fan. So what I wanted to talk tonight, on defense. Yeah, so Jason Flash Football did a talk about defense. And he says that, just because you're playing a game and you don't roll on the defensive card or you don't think that the defensive is involved, it is. It's in the game. And you just got to trust the game on that. What I wanted to do is I wanted to expand on that a little bit. So you got the defense. You have to trust the game engine that the defense is part of it, that it's just not a generic defense, that people matter, okay? But some of that falls on you, and I'm going to explain why. One thing he kind of said, and let me put up this right here, as Bill Thornton comes by. Hi, Bill. Thanks for coming by. One thing he said, and I quoted him on this, okay? And this is really interesting, okay? The more literal you are reading an outcome, the more you will struggle with the game. Think about that for a second. The more literal you are reading an outcome, the more you will struggle with the game. So, what I want to do is take this concept of defense is in the game, and you got to trust that defense is part of this game, and turn that in because you got to visualize it. Okay, I'm going to take that a step further and say this is theater of the mind. What we're doing is theater of the mind, and if you take these outcomes of the game literally, you're not going to have any fun because you're going to be taking everything too literally and you're not going to allow any room for the theater of the mind. Now, let's face it, when we grew up as kids, probably most of us, playing sports in the living room, the backyard, we're hitting the ball with Ted Williams or Jim Rice. How many times did I shoot the ball into net as Bobby Orr in my driveway or, shoot a basket? I'm Larry Bird. And we all did it. And that was kind of how we started theater of the mind with us. We're all alone and like, oh, Larry Bird for the win. And he goes in, the Celtics win the championship. We all did that. We all talked to ourselves, right? We all did that. We all had the theater of the mind thing going. And, I still do listen to a lot of Sirius XM on the oldies station, the old, what's it called? Old time radio. The Shadow, things like that. I love all that old stuff, because it's audio and you got to put the visual in your own mind of what's happening here. They give you the audio and you fill in the rest. And that's kind of what we're doing here, with the exception of probably like a play games who, in a lot of their games, they will give you the description of what happened. In the was it the second season football game? It's like, it runs it up the right side, and if the running back is a one, then he makes a terrific cut for a play. So play does that, and I think even with their baseball game, and I think all their games actually it's descriptive. So play will give you some of that theater of the mind to fill in the dots there. But even with the PC game, sometimes you get the result, and because you have the graphics on the screen, it does help a little bit here. But a lot of times what happens in the game, it's up to you to interpret. And what you will see, even on a ground ball to shortstop, we're all going to see it differently. Some people are going to see, hey, it's just a little ground ball to short. He throws it out. Some people might say, wow, he went to his left. What a play. The long throw from the hole. Other people are going to say he cut it off coming up the middle and threw it while he was in midair. And out's an out. But what did you think about that out? What happened on that play? What did happen on that play? As Mike comes by and Al's chilling out while he does this. And that's what I do too. I like to listen. Charles comes by. He says, used to love the Shadow. Yeah, how many times listen to Shadow? Boy, there was a couple of episodes that scared the crap out of me as a kid. I was in 4th grade, 1976, Tampa Bay Buccaneers year. And the teacher brought in Shadow Records, and it scared the crap out of me. As a kid, scared the crap out of me. And I've never heard the one episode that scared the crap out of me as a 10-year-old or 9-year-old, whatever it was. I never heard that again on old time radio. I listened to a lot of Shadow, but I never heard that particular one. And so I don't know if I just didn't hear it or if they discontinued it, but I love the theory of the mind. I like to think and visualize myself. And you know who does this real well is Uncle Ron. When Ron does his baseball games, actually, when I first followed him, he was doing his football games. And he's like, and, there's Coach Parcells kicking over the Gatorade bucket here after, Lawrence Taylor gets called for another holding call or pass interference. And I'm sitting there going, well, how does he know this? I mean, I'm just watching Action PC. And, I saw this and another flag on the defense. And I'm like, I'm not seeing this. And I remember like writing in and go, okay, I'm new to this game. Is he really kicking over the bucket or is that something that you're adding to this game? And he's like, no, he goes, I'm just kind of ad-libbing what I think's happening. And so Uncle Ron does it really well, as far as, adding to that story, because he gets a result. Again, most of his stuff's on the PC. So he gets the result and he adds to it. Even in the baseball games that he does, it's fly ball to left field, and sometimes it's hit right at the fielder, and other times he's going to his left and his right. Sometimes it's a shoestring catch, and sometimes it's not. And that's where the theory of the mind comes in with this. And I think I already told this story that I was having a chat with somebody on YouTube when, I was going for a medium pass, and it turned out to be a 5-yard catch. And what some people say, and I kind of agree with that, a medium pass is supposed to be 10 yards or longer. So if you're throwing 5-yard passes, that means you're probably checking down. So the checking down in APA football is kind of built into that chart. If you wanted to, it doesn't say that, but if you wanted to, that would make more sense. Other people say, nope, the wide receiver went out and he came back to help the quarterback out. He hit him and he only got 5 yards out of it. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong. Both can be true, but in my game, if I'm throwing medium, everybody needs to get beyond the 10 yards. We need that first down. 5 yards does me no good. But if I don't see anybody open, then I'm desperate and I'm going to check down to the safety valve. He gets tackled for 5 yards. In my game, that's how it happens. In other people's game, the receivers come back to the ball and they catch it for a short game. And no one is wrong. Again, it's theater of the mind. All there was a 5-yard gain. It was a medium pass. It was supposed to be a longer pass than that, but it turned out to be 5 yards. So what happens? It's up to you. It's theater of the mind. When you're playing hockey, and you have it's a turnover. Oh, the guy turns it over. Well, what happened on that play? Did he get checked off the puck? Was it a bad pass? What happened on the play? Well, it's up to you to decide. When you roll for a shot in APA hockey, it just says shot on goal. Is it a 2-on-1? Did he steal the pass? I mean, it's all up to you. It really is. It's all up to you what happens on that play. In baseball, no matter what game you play, when you see the double play, it's like, well, hit right at him. It's going to be he's going to turn two really nicely. Sometimes it's a play to second only. And did the guy have to go out of his way, get it off balance throw? They only get the runner, or did he fire it over and the batter beat it out going to first? All you know is that there was a man on first and it was hit, and the guy on second's out, and the batter is safe at first. What happened on the play? It's up to you. Up to you. It's all right here. You make that happen. It's theater of the mind. So when Jason was talking about the defense and how it's in the game, and again, when you roll on a game like Strat and you roll off the pitcher card, or let's just say you roll off the batter card is a better example. You roll off the batter card, there's really no defense in that. It's all up to the batter. If he hits a home run, then did the pitcher come into play? And the same thing, if you roll off the pitcher card, did the batter come into play? If it was a strikeout, it's hard to say. When you're playing Apple football, when the guy let's say whoever, Chuck Foreman of the Vikings. I was playing the Vikings today. Chuck Foreman runs the ball. He gets 2 yards. Is that because he's not that good and the offensive line didn't create him a hole? Or is that because somebody on the defense made the play? Again, defense is built into the game. So which is it? Did somebody on the defense made the play, or Chuck Foreman slipped and fell? All there was a 2-yard gain. It's up to you to fill in the details. And I think that's where he was kind of going with this. Whereas you're going to get the result of the play. Offense is baked in. Defense is baked in. And here's the result. Here's kind of the result of this game. And keeping in mind that it is a game, here's the result. Now you fill in the details. And I think that's what Jason was saying, is that, just because you're not rolling off the defensive card or the individual card, it's still there. It is still there. And this was my banner right here. This is what he said. And this really stuck me here. It just planted in my brain. The more literal you are reading an outcome, the more you will struggle with the game. So when you get the result in the game, if you just want to take that literally, you're not going to have much fun, because it's like, well, great, another shot on goal. Great, another this. Great, another. But if you build around that and make that play something really cool, it's going to be better than just this or that or the other thing. Again, that ground ball to short, play to second, and they only plays the second, then the batter's safe. Again, did that batter fly down the line and beat the throw for the double play? Or did the second baseman juggle the ball and never get the throw away? Again, that's up to you. But if you want to just get all literal about it and just like, well, it's this, it's that, the other thing, it's you're going to get the result, and it's up to you to put the story behind that. And I think I remember back in the day. Well, where's my thing? All right. So back in the day, I think I heard a story of the baseball guy doing radio, and he would get the ticker tape from the game, and it would just say, ground ball to third base, out. And he would really elaborate on what happened. Now, here's a high chopper down the third. It's going to be close, and he gets him. And so over the radio, he would just take the bare minimum, like he's getting results from, any of our baseball games. And he's adding all the color to it, adding the flavor, painting the picture so people could listen on the radio and not having to say, it's ground ball to third. And that's a story I heard. I don't know how true it is, but I heard that, back in the day, they would get the ticker tapes or whatever it is, and they would do the radio from that. So they weren't actually at the stadium or the ballpark doing this. And that's kind of what we do, when we're playing our games, and, you don't have to be streaming on YouTube or Twitch or anything. You can just be playing here, because whether I'm streaming or not, I'm broadcasting the game. I'm sitting here playing the game by myself. not on camera or anything, and I'm still visualizing the play. Not all the time, and I know some people don't. Some people just they want the result, and that's it. They'll play a baseball game. Oh, here's a pitch, and that's strikeout. Here's the next guy. Okay, it's going to be a pop fly to left field. Here's the next guy here. Ground ball to second, inning over. And they're not thinking about any of the theater. They're just getting the results. Nothing wrong with that. Again, that's how it plays so much faster. But for myself, sometimes I like to think it through. I like to think what's going on here. I want to use my mind. I want to create this, envision what's going on in the game, because that's how I really can enjoy it. For me, if it's just something, whatever, if I'm playing hockey and it's like, well, the defenseman has the puck, he loses it. Now the other defenseman has the puck. That's boring, right? That's really boring. But if you sit there and it's like, okay, the defenseman's got the puck and now he loses it, ends up over here. Now you can say, well, he brings it up to center ice and he dumps it in, and the defenseman gets there first on the other team. Or maybe he tries to pass up the middle. Guy lifts a stick, guy doesn't get it, no icing on the play, and now the other defenseman gets it. Again, you can come up with any scenario to fit what happened in the game, and that's what I like to do, because I want to envision the game playing here in front of me on my tabletop. I want to think about what's going on. And when something happens, when I read the result, yeah, sometimes I'll just give the puck away, or it's an out, or it's a whatever 3-yard run. But sometimes it's fun to really, really get into what you're doing, because that's what it's about, the immersion of it. It really is. And what Jason was talking about today about the defense, I want to take that a step further and not just visualize the defense, but visualize everything that's going on in the game. Okay? And Al, Red Sox fan, chimes in and says, Nurse Teresa sometimes asks me, are you streaming? He says, no, just calling the game. I'm the same way. I'm down here, whether I'm streaming or not, I'm calling the game. I might get a little bit more into it when I'm streaming, because I want to make it entertaining. But for me, I'm always doing that. For the most part, I'm doing that, unless I'm trying to just get through something because it's late and I just want the game to be over or whatever. You know how it is. Sometimes just like, okay, let's just get this game over with. Then I'm not really into it. But today, I've played the second half of my Vikings-Patriots What If Super Bowl from 1976, and Pats were winning at the half, doing pretty well. And spoiler alert, they couldn't do anything in the second half. They had, was it 32 yards in the third quarter to like 194 for Minnesota. And Minnesota scored a couple touchdowns to take the lead. Somehow New England was still in the game despite not being able to do anything. And I don't know how many times they would get the ball and it would end up being 4th and 19 or 4th and 29. I mean, just they must have had 200 yards in penalties. It was just penalty after penalty after penalty and loss after loss. They couldn't do anything in the second half. And I started to get a little frustrated, because I'm, again, Patriots guy, and and I'm like, wow, they just can't do anything. They can't do a thing. It's 3 and out. Not only is it 3 and out, it's lose 10, 15 yards and then punt. And they couldn't do anything. But then they would keep Minnesota off the scoreboard somehow. Tarkenton would lead them down, and they just couldn't put it in the end zone or whatever it was. But I'm visualizing this second half. New England comes out in the second half, and they're just flat. And Grogan can't complete a pass. The runners are getting hit for losses. So the line's just getting tired. And then Minnesota, 2 drives in a row, touchdowns. So the defense is getting tired. And just that's how I was visualizing this. My theater of the mind was pretty fun in that game today. And then, of course, boom, we have a crazy Minnesota's driving just one more first down and the game's over. And what happens? They fumble the ball and New England goes down the other way. And it was just amazing. And I'm visualizing this play. And, there's a couple of plays in APA that are, I'll admit, are kind of tough, because when you have a fumble with a running back or quarterback and it's 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage, you're like, oh boy, I'm sitting there thinking, how am I going to put this in my mind? So I'm like, okay, so either he went this way and cut back around, or maybe he just he got hit hard and the ball just shot out and guys are diving for the ball, and it just keeps going backwards as the ball sometimes does. So one way or another, it's 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage when somebody recovers that fumble. So anything could have happened on the play, and again, it's up to you to visualize that in your mind. And so, so Jason had a really good video today about defense in games, and he's making the argument that there is plenty of defense in these games, and you might not see it, but it's there, and you need to take that leap of faith and visualize that. And so again, if you're playing the football game and the runner gets stopped at the line of scrimmage, is it because the runner fell or the runner couldn't do it because you're rolling on the runner card, or is it because the defense called the right defense? So again, it's the theater of the mind. It's your mind that you need to do and think this through here. And again, with some of the PC games, it does work a little bit too, because some of them are kind of generic or whatever, and you can kind of really ham it up. Some give you the play-by-play, and it gets descriptive, so it takes that away a little bit. But like the Action PC with Ron when he plays the baseball game, he can see where the hit is going, and he fills in all the details. He adds all the color into that. He really does, and does a nice job with it. I try to do that with a hockey game, as the puck moves around, and I try to embellish a little bit of what happened with that, with the theory of the mind as well. But I just want to come on and talk a little bit about that tonight. That Jason's video got me thinking. And again, the quote here I want to put up is when you're playing these games, if you're gonna take it really literal, and you're just gonna take it at face value, and that's it, you'll struggle with the game. Okay, and he was more talking about the defense part of the game, that there's going to be defense in the game. Just because you don't see it, and just because you're not rolling on the defensive card, doesn't mean that it's not affecting the play. But you can't take it literally. You have to, again, you'll struggle with it. You'll struggle not only with the game, but you'll struggle with the believability of the game, and you'll question the game. That's the other thing, is I'm questioning the game because I feel as though the pitcher didn't affect the play, or the batter didn't affect the play, or the receiver didn't affect the play, or the goalie didn't, or this and that, or whatever it is. You have to just visualize that something happened on that play, or that exchange, or whatever game you're playing, and everybody's a part of that. That the game accounts for all that. When you roll the dice or flip the card or whatever is looking at the chart, or whatever it is that gets the game engine going there, everything is involved. Or at least for most games, it should be. It really is. Some games really get down to the nitty gritty. Some games you have every single play. Like when I play inside the crease. Okay, I only play on the computer, but loose pucks. Okay, it's a loose puck, and it goes into the corner, and it's the defenseman and the winger. So yes, you're going to roll, and whoever gets the highest one is going to get that puck. So sometimes it's the head-to-head matchup, and other times it's not. Other times it's just going to be someone picks up the puck, and you got to visualize what happened with that. Any kind of turnover in hockey. How many times did I play Bobby Orr, and he would cough up the puck, and I'd be mad, but it's like, well, maybe he didn't cough up the puck. Maybe he passed it to somebody, and they lost the puck, but somehow it went from Bobby Orr's stick to this guy's stick, and there's all sorts of paths that could have taken to get there, And Sports Time Machine in here, and here's another one, Sports Time Machine. That's what I'm doing, is payoff pitch. Here's another one that does the theater of the mind. He's got the cards in front of him. He gets the result, and he fills in the details. And sometimes it's just a ground ball to third. And other times it's what a backhanded stab on a short hop, and the long throw just barely gets him. The game says ground ball to third. It's up to you how crazy you want that to be in your mind. But you get the result. It's going to be an out. But what happens on that? And sometimes when I play games like season ticket over here, let's look at my season ticket card here. There it is right there. So I'm looking at Alan Hargerschmeyer. Never heard of him from the Kansas City Royals. Well, he played 5 games. That's probably why I never heard of him, But he's got a couple 6-4-3 double plays on here, and I'm thinking, okay, well, that's a pretty darn good hit right at the guy, so it's going to be an easy play, He's got a 6-3 on here. So I'm thinking that, well, his only play was the first. So the shortstop made a really nice play to get the ball, but his only play was the first. So it's not going to be a double play. And there's a whole bunch of other things like on here, like even the F9. He's got a fly ball at the right field. Well, that's up to me to decide. Was that deep fly ball? Was it a diving catch? With men on base, it might be a little different to kind of visualize a diving catch or slamming into the wall like Freddie Lynn used to do, because now runners will advance. But if there's nobody on base, or if there's 2 outs, you can get as descriptive as you want with these things. So, but anyway, go check out Jason Flash Football. He did a really good video on defense, and I just wanted to expand on that a little bit tonight. I'm not going to be on too much longer, but I want to come on tonight and just kind of talk that out a little bit here about what we do with theater of the mind. And again, what you see on a result is going to be different than what I see. And that's half the fun, is putting our stamp on a play. We're going to say, hey, this is what I saw in that play. This is how I'm going to visualize that play. And again, there's no wrong answers here. If you get the result, and that's what the result is. And how that result happens, you put together that puzzle there. Again, we're just going to hand you the result, and you fill in the details. Tell me what happened here. Okay, the main character dies. How did he die? You write that story. So again, we're all writing our own stories here. It's our own theater, and that's what makes this really fun and enjoyable here. And a lot of people in the community do a really good job of this. But just going back to Jason, and one more time, I want to put this last quote here. Again, if you're just going to take a game at face value and read everything literally, it's just not going to be any fun. You need to let the game breathe. You need to give the game some space. You need to let the game do what it's going to do. And if you can't do that, then maybe it's not the game for you. If you're like, well, then this, that, and the other thing, and blah, 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 blah. Well, how are your results? When you played the game, does it feel like you were playing a baseball, football, hockey game, basketball game, whatever you're playing? Did it feel like it? Just because you don't think the defense was involved in the play, or the pitcher has enough involvement, or the fielders have enough involvement, or the football defense, or the defense on hockey, just because you don't think there's enough involvement by them when you played the game, how'd it come out for you? Was it really lacking, or did it come out but you just didn't see it? Again, just a few things to think about here. Just a few things to think about. So I'm going to jump out here. It is getting late over here. Again, I get out of the rink late, but I want to come on and talk about that. So let me know your thoughts about that on the theater of the mind and the things we talked about, kind of piggybacking off Jason's conversation about defense being built into these games, whether you like it or not, or whether you agree with it or not, it's in there. But you got to use that's the theater of the mind to envision that. So anyway, just something I thought about throwing out there tonight. So I want to thank everybody for coming by here tonight. Barbara, thanks for coming by. Steeler fan as well. And everybody have a good night here. I'm going to jump out myself and going to look at the Bruins box score. The Bruins won big tonight. I am shocked that they beat Florida as bad as they did, but they did. And so I'm going to go take a look at some of the highlights from that. But I'm Dave from Studio B, and we'll talk to you all later. I should be around tomorrow. I actually have a day off tomorrow. So maybe I'll be on with something. Maybe I'll start my Bruins Sharks What If Stanley Cup playoffs. Maybe I'll do that. Or maybe I'll do another football game. I don't know. That was a fun football game today, though. Not the result that I wanted, but it was a fun ending. So we'll talk to you all later anyway. Bye-bye.